Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us today. My name is Robert Breitbart, Director of Educational Partnerships with Burlington English, and we're going to have a really valuable and engaging time for you, I do believe, preparing students for civics and citizenship success with Burlington English is the title of today's session. And again, I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. I really do believe that you're going to have some great insights, and definitely if you're not familiar with Burlington English, well, I really think you'll be very, very interested in finding out more about us. And if you do use Burlington English, you might just be surprised at just how comprehensive the product is, and how we can definitely, without a doubt, help you in these areas of civics and citizenship. So let's go ahead and get started with this right away. And first and foremost, we'll talk about our content, our agenda, if you will. We're going to cover something that we hear all the time. Well, Robert, what's the difference between civics and citizenship? Because we often have grown up and heard it interchangeably used, and but there's some definite differences, and we'll go through not just those differences as we've used them commonly, but as they're legally described in our world of adult education. And then as we look at the difference between civics and citizenship, talk about key areas in both of those topics that are most in need of our assistance and helping our learners be successful in civics and citizenship. And then just how easy it is to match Burlington English content to those key elements. Okay, so that's what's going to define our session today. So what exactly is citizenship? Well, citizenship, as many dictionaries say, can be formally defined as simply just the legal relationship between an individual and the state and the government, if you will. So for our purposes, that's going to be the topic of citizenship as we're going to look at it today, and as we can most help our students in this area of citizenship. So it's going to help if we first take a look at key elements of citizenship. So oftentimes, while we know, I should say, that applying for naturalization for an individual can take years and be quite an arduous process, really so often where we can help out the average teacher, adult education teacher around the country, is with the actual time nearing the closure of the process, where they actually have to go in and meet with the officer, if you will, an agent, a U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, a USCIS officer. And there are two key parts of what is going to be discussed in that interview. And one that we've heard about for years, if we've been involved in this, is the 100 questions, if you will. Then it was 128 questions, but now 100. So I know 30 years ago when I started an adult education teacher, I really need a copy of the 100 questions. So we're going to talk about those, but then we're going to talk about what really is, according to those who've gone through the process, and definitely individuals at USCIS, much, much more labor-intensive, heavy lift preparing for and actually going through, and that's what's formally called the English test. So let's take a little bit closer look at both. Well, there's the civics test, again, what we've known forever as on the street, the 100 questions, if you will, and that's broken up into three areas: American government, such as what's the supreme law of the land, integrated civics, so geography, for example, might be geography, so what's one of the two longest rivers in the United States, and then lastly, American history, such as possibly the sample question, the question that I'm using as a sample here, what are some reasons that colonists came to America? All right, so this is what they can practice from, written on paper, the actual questions and answers. Actually, not nearly as many people struggle with this part as they do the following part. And this is actually the interaction with that USCIS officer and that's the English test. Okay, so the English test. So English test is broken up into 3 areas. All right, first area, that as it's described here, applicants' ability to speak English. Okay, but keep in mind that's going to be applicants' ability to speak English as they're being asked about information and questions on the form that really is, is the foundation of the application process in so many ways. And the form that immigrants have to fill out to get the process going, the N400. Okay, so we're going to be taking a longer look at the N400. All right, and as far as the speaking, they're going to be asked questions about it. So think about that. They're going to be asked, and it's a little teaser for something we're going to come up to in just a little bit. So think of the reading, writing, listening, and speaking of what kind of skills your students are being needed to have here. But as far as the speaking, also in comprehensibility, if you've used Burlington English, then you know this is a fan favorite of students and teachers alike. If you haven't seen it, boy, I tell you, get with my colleagues at Burlington English. We'd love to show you this. This is what we call the speech trainer. So it does a fantastic job at really working on accent modification. You can really see a difference with someone who's been using this, on a regular basis. I know any of us who've tried to learn another language and really just, we hesitated to open our mouths because of tripping over words, and this really helps. And could you imagine, not just being on the street and trying to order something in another country, but actually being in that USCIS with that officer, and what a stressful situation. So having the confidence of comprehensibility with Burlington English Speech Trainer is fantastic. Reading vocabulary. What's one of the best ways besides explicit, reading instruction? What's one of the great ways that we can do? Well, if you've read through Krashen's work and so many others, believe it or not, pleasure reading, when the affective filter isn't engaged, when we're actually relaxed and enjoying things, what a difference that can make. So what I'm showing you up on the screen is our Burlington English, just a few of them. There's plenty more. Burlington English digital readers. These are, they pop up on any device, a la Kindle style, if you will. They have a read back feature. They'll karaoke highlight as it's being, the sentences and words as it's being read through. Again, high interest, nonfiction, fiction, really great comprehension questions. Fantastic. If you're not familiar with the Burlington English readers, digital readers, you should be, because again, what a great way to get students comfortable in their reading is actually have some fun doing it. All right. And then this is, lastly, again, this writing part. And I tell you, talk about a hidden gem in Burlington English. So many teachers are familiar with our projectable lessons, whether it's for their Zoom screen or in the classroom. They're familiar with the student lessons, but our version of a teacher's edition, what we call the course and lesson planner, is fantastic. So here's an example of our course and lesson planner, multiple pages, and I'll show you just a few that really give great examples. Lesson prompts, again, so targeted for what students are going to be doing. This one's about writing their own personal information and bio, as well as in the future. So really, I love the fact that so many teachers are blown away by what they know about Burlington English, and then they find out there's so much more, such as the course and lesson planner. Now, let's take a look, though. Again, the document that's going to be so key for our learners throughout this entire process, this N400, okay? So they're going to be filling this out with their information, starting in the immigration process. And then, again, as you can see by the image on the screen, when they're actually meeting with that immigration officer, they're going to be quizzed and they're going to be asked about information that they put on that form. So this is super critical. And what I love about it is that, again, I said about those different parts of the English test where they're actually talking and interacting. And, of all the skills, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, what's the one that you really can't slow down? You can kind of slow down your writing a little bit. You can kind of slow down, take your time. for a moment reading. You can kind of compose your thoughts and a little bit for speaking, but oftentimes, particularly in a formal situation, you can't ask somebody necessarily to slow down. Or an intimidating situation like that USCIS interview. Overwhelmingly of the reading, writing, listening, and speaking, the one that's most critical is listening comprehension. And boy, if there's a part of Burlington English that we just shine, it's in the listening comprehension. Love it, love it, love it. So again, the way we accomplish this is what we call watch and speak. And so it's really a role play, if you will. And what a great role play we have right here. So, again, in Burlington English, this is part of our Burlington core. So you don't have to run to this resource and that resource. It's all in one place. So this is, again, part of our bread and butter, Burlington English core. Everything you need for projectable lessons in the classroom or on Zoom, as well as everything a student needs when they're learning by themselves asynchronously. So this process I love, where students, if education is moving from the known to the unknown, well, then this is a slam dunk. They get comfortable reading, they read through the dialogues, they get comfortable with each person in that role play, the applicant as well as the officer. So here are the officers asking, are you ready? And then as they move through it, then they click an arrow, and that's where they get the sound file, right? So they're hearing it. So again, so many of our students, the only place they're going to hear English is in the classroom, class setting. So isn't it nice that even when they go home to their non-English speaking household, maybe nobody else is able to assist them in English, they're going to be able to hear English, right there, wherever they are. And then this is one of my favorite features that I just highlighted toward the bottom of the screen, the hide text feature. Love this part. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Because this now really allows me to click hide the text, okay, for obviously I want to hide the officer's text so that I can now actually just click the sound file, and as you can see, the text has gone away. So when I click the sound file, it's a true listening comprehension. Okay, I wish you were right in front of me. I wish we were really interactive, because I asked you, do you remember what the officer said on the previous screen when you could see the text? There's actually quite a few folks, when I do this in a true interactive fashion, say, Robert, I missed that. And English is my native language, or I've been speaking English for a long time. So he asked, are you ready? Okay. So even for native speakers or near native folks, that's quite a demanding thing, the listening comprehension. And I love that we tackle it there. We also, you're going to see the Hollywood style clapboard icon throughout Burlington English. I love it that we have, again, versus just a textbook and where words just lay on a page, we have full-blown little short videos, little movies, I like to call them, that bring static images to life. So there's little videos throughout there. Once again, pure listening comprehension, and also to a degree demystifying the citizenship situation to, again, reduce just even a little bit of that anxiety that's got to be running through anybody going through the process. Well, here again is that document, the N400. So, as a teacher, I used to try to run around getting realia, real life materials, coupons, change of address forms, different things. And again, the N400, I remember trying to get my hands on one of these. Well, in Burlington English, we've saved you that trouble. So it's actually there in the program. Okay, so many parts of it. Now, as you know, if you use Burlington English, the green theme of this screen, the green means go for me as a teacher. This is my in-class lesson. This fills up my Zoom screen if I'm teaching remotely. It fills up my whiteboard if I'm teaching in class. So this is my in-class lesson. It's going to be matched to everything that the student's going to see on their student lesson perfectly when they're doing their work all by themselves. And again, I've also all in one place, just in the core, I've got examples in Burlington English of U.S. government, of American history. So really, I don't have to run around all over the place. I've got it all in one place. Okay, now to the home stretch. Took a look at citizenship. Let's take a look at what civics is, defined by the federal government as part of what passed in 2014 called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, okay? And that is, again, an act, a statute, if you will, that allows Congress, from Congress, it allows Department of Labor, Department of Education to give out funds through a competitive bid process, RFP process, to all the states and territories in the United States. And they define citizenship, as you can see here on the screen, the educational services to English language learners, adults, they could be professionals, they could be individuals, of all kinds of exposure to education back in their home country. It allows them to achieve competency in English language and acquire not just basic but advanced skills needed to function effectively as parents, workers, citizens of the United States. And what I love about it here is that, and this is where, again, we talk about civics, rights and responsibilities, of citizenship and civic participation. Okay, civic participation. So we've covered citizenship. So let's get into the civics now. So here's just some examples of civics, right? And again, I talked about this Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, and one of the neat things that it specifies funds for, specifically a separate line item of funds, is for something called IELCE that many of you are aware of, but some this might be a new term. And so IELCE means the combination or the integration of English language and English literacy instruction. So let's say that image represents our ESL class, plus civics education that we're going to dive in a little bit more. And then also for many states, it's also has a job training component, a career training component. But IELCE, if you're not familiar with that, find out more. We'd love to help you at Burlington English. Find out more. Like I said, it's got its own dollar amount. It's really, really neat for our students to be able to do more than just learn English, but actually really gain a career. Okay, so this is an example of how critical it is. Now, we've been partners and friends for so many years, again, with our good friends at CASAS, and thanks to all of them for doing such a great job at putting this channel together. So you should know that however you get your CASAS data, if you're still using paper and pencil, but hopefully you're using TOPS Pro, Enterprise, just know that once you get that data, it is so easy, particularly in all parts of Burlington, particularly in our Burlington core, okay, to, I promised at the beginning to match Burlington content to needed areas. So I'm showing an example of the core here, and towards the top, we have that search feature. I can search to, say, I've picked correlations. I could have picked correlations to college and career readiness standards or English language proficiency standards. Here I've picked CASAS competencies. And I'm going through government and law, and then understanding civics, 5.6 civics. And again, that's civic responsibility. And so for here, an example, civic responsibility, recycling. Okay. So again, just how easy it is to match Burlington content, whether you're trying to do citizenship preparation or to do civics. We make it so easy for you. Again, your local representative love to walk you through. So some examples of civics: form and express personal opinions, okay? How to use it, for yourself, but also, in a group. So what could be, more critical than what we've gone through the past few years, than understanding about, again, the process of registering to vote. We've got that in Burlington English. Working together. We've got a couple ones here talking about citizens working for a common cause and community members working for a common cause. Many of our new neighbors don't come from countries, unfortunately, due to tragedy, where they don't have civic participation like they do, such as understanding that we have everything from things like a community walk to town hall meetings, okay, lecture series by community speakers and government representatives. So working together, knowing that they are, while they're our new neighbors, they are, fully vested and ready to participate in the community. And then also a bigger picture of civics, of life skills, is, also making sure that we have things in good order even at home. So even consumer issues are part of a big picture in all of this. So I love that, we even cover consumer in this. All right. take action to strengthen, our communities. And again, thank goodness that we in Burlington Core, we really position teachers and their learners, to help their learners. So when they turn on the evening news, they go online or what have you, and they see current events and what have you, they're in such a better place to understand, that when they see things out there that touch their heart and they wish they could do something more about, that they really can, that we really can be part of civic change, and including the fact, starting with the Bill of Rights and moving forward. So some really high quality, engaging lessons you can do with Burlington English, even, and without running, and I love to say, we make teachers' lives easy because it's all in one place. And again, lastly, can't say enough, wow, it's been so fantastic for so many years to be, great partners with our friends at I'm a big CASAS fan, as you can tell. Love. And, so just know that we'd love to help you also see how the most that you can get out of your CASAS data and make it all happen with Burlington English for your students' civic and citizenship success. Well, please reach out. Reach out to us you could go to burlingtonenglish.com/contact and find your local representative, find more information. Also, info@burlingtonenglish.com. Just send your information and we'll get you to the right person for more information about any of the topics and items I've talked about. And then lastly, definitely just feel free, dial the number on the screen. Well, once again, Robert Breitbart, Director of Educational Partnerships with Burlington English. So glad you could spend some time with us today. All the very best, and thank you for all you do for your students in adult education. Take care.